of a brand new day today in Tibet. And you see, many people call this place the roof of the world. And why not, with an average height of over 4,000 meters above sea level. And they always say you get the best view from above. Let's see how these Tibetans live their lives. I'm Yin, and welcome to Travelogue.
Tibet is a mysterious land, and its capital, Lhasa, is its spiritual center. Lhasa in Tibet means place of gods, and indeed, it has been a destination for Buddhist pilgrims for centuries. People from far and wide journey to the center of Old Lhasa, its heart, the Jokung Monastery. The monastery was constructed by the Tubo king Songtsen Gampo in the 7th century and has been the oldest temple in Tibet. When Songtsen Gampo married a Nepalese princess and later a Chinese princess, Princess Wencheng, they both brought sculptures of Sakyamuni, the founder of Buddhism. The king then ordered the Jokung Monastery to be built to house these holy sculptures. Nearly all Tibetans follow Tibetan Buddhism, known as Lamism. Buddhism was introduced into Tibet in the 7th century from India. Today, the power of religion still runs strong, and people gather outside the monastery every morning to prostrate at the main gate. By doing so, it's believed they collect good merit for the next life. I have never seen more devout peoples anywhere in the world. The Jokung Monastery can claim to be the center around which the city of Lhasa developed. With the growing number of people circling the monastery, prostrating themselves, the most representative Barkor Street was formed. Today, Tibetan people still follow this custom, moving clockwise around the monastery every dawn and dusk. It appears the street still whispers the stories of old Tibet. Nowadays, Barkor Street is also a hive of market activity in which visitors can buy all sorts of souvenirs.
See, this piece of cloth is a typical costume for what the local ladies wear. And you see, I got one myself here. It's double layers, red on the inside and blue on the outside. And it's things like this that keep you cool in the summertime and warm in the winter. Look at the embroiders.
Most items on the street relate to the religion, since religion plays a role in most aspects of Tibetan culture. Tankas are the richest forms of Buddhist art. Tanka is a kind of scroll painting mounted on fabric that depicts a wide range of themes taken from Tibetan history, social life, and traditional culture. The main theme of Tanka is religion, and portraits of Buddhas and religious scenes are common.
Contemporary Tibetan art. Wonder what that looks like.
The Lhasa of today is a blend of past and present. Art has taken on a new face in art galleries on Barkor Street. Contemporary art includes traditional religious themes blended with abstract or postmodern ways in presentation.
Art in Tibet. What does that exactly mean? Well, typically people will think of the tankas or the murals that are on top of the monasteries and the rooms and the walls. But nowadays, you see painting in Lhasa has taken almost a different type of turn. There's many different faces to it. And around me now is a perfect example of what's modern here in Lhasa. You see, instead of just the two-dimensional, very brightly colored pictures of Buddhas or things from the scriptures, now you still have sometimes the same content, but it's displayed in a completely different way.
For a taste of local culture, you gotta try local foods.
On this section of Bajiao Street, there's all these daily food items that the locals eat. Like, see over here? This is sort of dried yak butter, and over here is shredded, all different shapes and different widths and everything. And I guess the people here like to have their yak butter in all different forms, with their foods, with their yak butter tea, and everything else.
Most Tibetans still prefer to eat traditional foods, and the Majiami restaurant on the street can be just that place for you. It's a fine place for a good view of the city as well.
What a great place to have a meal. And you see, around here, we're right in the center of Lhasa, the most important street, Bajiao Street. And the street was formed around the Jokkang Monastery. And you see the people, even today, walk around the monastery in a clockwise manner, just like they spin their little things here. And you see, around here you find vendors on the sides and people, tourists and locals from all over the place get a taste of what it means to be a resident of Lhasa. And of course, that's essential. What's essential is you need to try some of the local food. And you have people from all over the place here just for their specific food. Sometimes, most popularly, the Tibetan food, the yak meat and the mutton. Maybe we should give it a try. Nice. Finally time for my meal. And you see, we have all these Tibetan dishes, like the yak steak, which I was looking forward to, some vegetables here with some local yogurt, and mushrooms, and of course, the local barley, which wrap around the vegetables here. So, what am I gonna do? Just one person and all these vegetables? I'm gonna get started.
Majiami is a small eatery known to many international visitors. The restaurant combines Tibetan with more of an international and Western taste. The decor of the place is something else, strikingly Tibetan, but also displaying Lhasa's modern twist. You haven't been to Tibet if you haven't seen the Potala Palace. In stories and legends, we have heard of the holiness and mystery of Tibet, and perhaps it stems from this ancient palace. Its crimson and white wall and its golden roof shine in glory in the famous sunlight of Lhasa.
The signature structure of Tibet is, of course, the Potala Palace. And you see, millions of people come here every year to witness its grandeur. It stands over 110 meters in height and has over 1,000 rooms. Formerly used as government offices, now it's mostly admired as a religious and historical center.
In 641, Songtsen Gampo, ruler of the Tubo Kingdom, had the Potala Palace built for Princess Wencheng of the Tang Dynasty, who he was soon to marry. The complex is made up of two sections, the Red Palace and the White Palace, which together consists of 1,000 rooms. It's a model of Tibetan architecture and a major national cultural monument. This world's highest palace stands more than 3,700 meters above sea level and has 13 stories with 999 rooms.
You see, the Potala Palace is composed mostly of two colors, red and white. Now, of course, they're symbolic. The red symbolizes power, and the white symbolizes peace and tranquility, just like the palace.
Much remains veiled to the visitor, like the stupa of the 5th Dalai Lama, who rebuilt the palace after it was damaged by lightning and warfare. At 14 meters high, the stupa has over 3,700 kilograms of gold. The designs and decorations are all inlaid with diamonds and pearls, as well as other precious items. The White Palace, comprising halls, temples, and courtyards, serves as the living quarters of the Dalai Lama. The Red Palace includes various chambers for worshipping Buddha and chambers housing the 8 stupa that contain the remains of 5th through 13th Dalai Lama. The Potala Palace is a historical monument, but still preserves a special place in people's hearts today. Devout Tibetans pilgrimage here by vehicle, by motorbike, by foot, and even on hands and knees. For many people, a visit to Tibet is meaningless without 2 things: the Potala Palace and Mount Everest. And here, we meet some seemingly common folk who have some big dreams.
And this is Mount Everest, the highest peak in the entire world. So, who has been to Mount Everest?
Me.
You have?
Yes.
Okay. What do you need to bring to Mount Everest?
Rope and tent, down jacket, and crampons, and mountain boat, and all.
Mountain climbing? Tent! Avalanche! Slow!
I can teach them some English. Maybe I can learn to climb as well. Mount Everest of the Himalayas is the highest mountain peak in the world at 8,848 meters.
I can't really get my leg up so high. This looked much easier when they were doing it. Got pretty high, but it's not really because of me. Look over there. Look over there. Look over there. There's like the person pulling. Everyone's literally pulling me up. Can't do it by myself.
There are these special climbing schools that train students in climbing, along with other necessary knowledge to prepare them for a climb to the 3rd pole. Once the North and South poles had been reached by explorers, Mount Everest was their next challenge, often called the 3rd pole. Attempts to climb the mountain began the first half of the 20th century. One man, George Mallory, was one of them who dared to challenge it. When asked, "Why do you climb the mountain?" he said, "Because it is there." Unfortunately, he didn't come back from Everest. It was the last time Mallory was observed. From Lhasa, we continue west to Jiangzi of Rikazhe district, which means the fertile land in Tibetan. The sights along the way are spectacular. Here the environment is harsh and at a challenging high-altitude natural environment. However, there are the small villages that dot the landscape and manage to catch our eye.
What a crazy journey. So far we've been past mountains and grasses and flowers and deserts, and the weather's been changing all over the place. You got sunny weather, you got clouds, wind, even we passed through a sandstorm. So I wonder what Rikazhe will actually be like once we get there, but we'll have to be bouncing for a few more hours over this multivaried scenery before we get there. The wait.
At an average altitude of over 4,000 meters, it's typical to see views beyond the realm of your imagination in Tibet. Here we find the famous mountain Zongshan. It was once the location of the local government of Jiangzi County and has a group of castles located on a hill in the urban area. Jiangzi is well known as Hero Town because of the Tibetan soldiers and people who once took part in a fierce battle to defend it. Fort Ruin of resisting British Army is located on that mountain. It used to be an ancient castle where the Tibetans fought against the British Army's invasion a century ago. China is a country of 56 minorities, but they are all united and at peace. A famous movie called Hong He Gu was even made, portraying this honorable act by the Tibetans. Today, on the walls, we can find cannons and bullet holes, reminding us of the rich history. These days, people still live quietly here in their traditional ways. The houses are traditional whitewashed houses of 2 stories. Every household raises livestock, and the first floors of their houses are for livestock and upstairs for people. Here I visited a local family. The man is 27 and lives with his wife and 2 kids. He was born and raised in this village, like most people here who choose to live according to traditional Tibetan customs. Typical Tibetans live traditional lives, eating the local barley, zamba, and drinking butter tea. The tea is an indispensable part of Tibetan life. This hot drink is great against the cold and is always served to guests. According to custom, butter tea is drunk in small separate sips, and after each sip, the host refills the bowl to the brim. Thus, the guest never drains his bowl, yet is constantly topped up. From their childhood until they have their own children, they live like this. Outside is Baiju Monastery. It's a charming place which remains its special culture and natural remoteness. The monastery was built in the 15th century and is the headquarters for 3 sects of Buddhism, which had experienced rivalry for a long period of time. The monastery is the only one known to house monks from different orders in harmony. As a result, its structural style, deities enshrined, and murals are very unique. It's also unique in combining stupa and temple with temples in stupa and stupas in temples. We continue our journey towards Everest to Sagya Monastery. On our path, we really get to know how man works at the whim of nature. In Tibet, quick changes in weather are expected, like mudslides after the rain, which may block traffic. Being the only road there, we have no choice but to wait in line.
Oh, God. So I think we're stuck here for at least an hour. I don't know. How long have you guys been out here in traffic?
In traffic, just maybe 1 hour.
Just 1 hour? Just 1 hour?
Yeah,
Where are you guys off to?
we are going to Tingri and then to the EBC.
It's your first time to Tibet?
Yes, it is.
So where you guys up to? We're going up to base camp 1.
And then came back, go back to the Lhasa?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Finally out of the traffic and on to some more interesting sights. It's around autumn time here, and many people are gathered for the Wangguo festival, which is the harvesting festival. Tibetans from all around will come and celebrate with song, dance, and religious ceremonies. So, if you got the chance to come to Tibet during this time, you have to come and join them. Finally, to Sagya Monastery, located in the Sagya County, 149 kilometers from Rikadze. The monastery was built by the founder of the Sagya sect in 1073. Far and remote, it still sees plenty of visitors for its large collection of scriptures. There are also abundant antiques in the monastery, such as statues, murals, and walls lined with classical books. Since it holds so many treasures, the monastery is also called the Second Dunhuang of China. Historical and folklore themes thrive in murals. We came during a time of renovation, so they invited painters who had painted the Dunhuang caves. Because the murals in the interior of the wall had 3 separate stripes of red, white, and blue, symbolizing the Buddhas, the Sagya sect is also called the stripe set. Certain rules must be followed by the painters. The Buddha must be solemn, and his body must be portrayed in certain specific proportions. During this time of renovation, everyone takes a part. The men and women work together, sometimes in some interesting ways. Can you guess what they're doing? These people dance on the rooftops, making something that is thought of as work less tiresome. To the rhythmic beats and repetitive movements, work and play become one. If you think about it, they are bringing new life to something old and ancient, a spiritual rebirth in their daily lives that happens every day.
See? All work and no play makes you an adult girl. That's why we do this. Here at the monastery, to spice things up a little bit in their lives, they hit the roof and sing and sort of dance to this beat at the same time. Now, it's almost a little bit of trick to get the right notes, but a little bit of practice, you're on your way.
Look at these smiles, and you know the spirit of a Tibetan is always going strong. Tibet is a land, a religion, a culture, and ultimately a mystery. The landscape, air, and sunshine all have so many untold stories of their own.
Tibet is this natural place of holy land, holy waters and holy mountains. Here, you'll find old ladies marching along with their prayer wheels in hand. The fresh scent of yak butter infiltrates the air. No matter where you're from in the world, this place will simply awe-inspire you. I'm Yin, and see you next time on Travelogue. Who knows where the journey will take us?